Nintendo was taking too long to open up Mario Land in America, so I went ahead and built my own. And I rebuilt one of the best racetracks for Mario Kart, none other than Baby Park. Because, you know, it's actually surrounded by a theme park. It makes a lot of sense. I made the entrance to Super Mario Land very pipey. And this is a kind of small section of the theme park because I didn't have a lot of space left to work with. But I am very happy with everything that I fit here into the space. This is Yoshi's Egg Scramble, which is based off of a really popular flat ride. And I have to shout out some of the creators of a lot of the scenery that I put in this section, because this area would not be nearly as cool as it is if it wasn't for all this custom 3D Mario scenery that was uploaded to the Theme Maker's Toolkit. Alright, we're about to start our first race on the Baby Park. But we will not be doing all 7 laps. We'll just give it a circle. And my favorite Mario Kart game is Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube, and this was one of the most iconic tracks from the game, so it was really exciting to rebuild it. And my favorite thing is this coaster track that runs through the center of the track, which isn't functional, no cart goes over it, but it looks super cool and just adds to the dynamic of the track. I'm really happy that I got to put this in here. Now, if you do want to see the full entire park tour, there is a playlist down in the description. This is a gigantic theme park, and there is a lot to look at. This episode, we're mainly just going to be focusing on the Mario Land. Now, we have so many 3D models. We have Lumas, Waluigi, and Wario. I put them in the pit stop. We have this giant chain chomper. There's piranha plants everywhere. There's an information stand called the info block. And then if you come inside here, we have some more info and some bathrooms. Relieving yourself in the Mushroom Kingdom is an experience. But the main experience here is the Mushroom Kingdom coaster that we enter by going through this warp pipe. Well, there it is. Look at the people up there. Yo, they're about to go back down into the dip. And it's going to transport us into an underground Mario level. It's going to be dark and scary, full of Goombas and Koopas everywhere. Gotta squash them. There's a lot of people in line for this ride. And they also place some other cool references and Easter eggs if you guys are able to catch them. And I had to put a roller coaster in Mario Land because the actual Nintendo Land that is being built in real life does not have a roller coaster, so I took it upon myself to build one. Now, this is the biggest kiddie coaster in the park. It is the slowest out of all the coasters, but it has some of the most engaging scenery. As we climb up the incline, we're circling around a castle based off of the castle that you find at the end of all the levels on the very first Mario Bros. Game. I put some inspiration from almost every Mario game in this coaster. It's kind of like a conglomeration of all the games just smashed together. Alright, we're at the top. Let's go ahead and just enjoy the coaster. There is a lot to take in here. This coaster maintains some pretty good speed along the whole way, but never gets too scary. That way anybody of any age can ride and enjoy this experience. Yo, Birdo and Yoshi, the best couple. Peach is just vibing right there. There's so many little decorations on this coaster, you can easily miss them if you aren't paying attention. Alright, now I think we need to dive down into the underground. Gotta take down King Bowser. He's sending all these minions out. It's not cool with us. He's disrupting the peace of the Mushroom Kingdom. We're getting down into his castle. I see the thwomps. There's lots of fire. There he is. Oh, look, we just smashed him. He's dead. Alright, so that's the main course of it. Now, this isn't my favorite coaster in the park. It's actually pretty far down on the list for my coaster rankings, but that's just because it doesn't have that much speed. It's probably one of my favorite coasters in the park scenery-wise, but if I had to ride the same coaster over and over again, this one would probably not be it, unless I had my family with me, which I don't have kids, so that's not really relevant whatsoever. go ahead and take an overhead view. This is the layout of the land, the Super Mario Land. It was a pleasure getting to build this. I am so thankful that Planet Coaster includes so much custom Mario scenery. I could see myself building a whole Mario theme park in the future maybe because of how many options there are. The section right above this is a Pokemon park, which we'll be visiting in a future episode of the tour. But for now, I want to take a look at that gigantic white building that we saw next to us during this whole video. I tried to decorate the back the best I could, but in the front, you can see that it is the iMax Theater, which I think the matinee is about to begin, so let's go ahead and check it out. I have a question for you guys though. Have you guys been to a movie theater since the quarantine? Do you think the quarantine pretty much made movie theaters obsolete since most people have larger TVs and better sound systems nowadays? I've been like twice since then, and both times I've wondered why I even go. But here is the movie lineup. It hasn't changed in a couple years since I built this place, but it's okay. The people still love these movies anyways. How to Train Your Dragon 3 is their all-time favorite. They'll watch it 100 times. Of course, we have concessions. You gotta get your food, your popcorn, your expensive drinks. And we have two theaters. The first one is a smaller theater. It's playing some Indiana Jones type movie. Kind of a bit too scary right now. It doesn't go along with the Mario theme, so let's keep on moving forward. I really want to see this octopus movie. All these pictures and posters, it's selling me. And then here is the iMax screen. This is the big chungus of movie theater screens. And I think it's so cool how there's actually a movie playing on it. We have like a Sandra Bullock's Gravity playing on that one. Some sci-fi outer space stuff. And then there's a second lobby to the movie theater with some more arcade machines, some air hockey tables, and even some more concessions, so you don't have to go to the busy ones up front. Overall, I am absolutely mind blown that this game exists and that I'm able to build stuff like this in a virtual theme park. I grew up playing Roller Coaster Tycoon in the 90s, and the fact that these games have upgraded to this point is just such a cool feeling. Also, let me know in the comment section below what video game you think deserves its own section in a theme park. Video games always have such imaginative worlds that would be so cool to see come to life, and theme parks are usually the most realistic option for that to happen because of their usage of business models surrounding their theming. The full theme park of the Toucan Kingdom has a lot of its own original themed areas, but I am very happy that I got to include some Nintendo themed areas with the Zelda Castle, the Mario Lands, and coming up in a couple episodes you guys will get to see the Poke Park as well, which has the best rides in the whole entire park. It's freaking awesome. Now to end this video off, I want to use a really cool feature the game includes where we can put ourselves in the first-person perspective of one of the guests as they walk through the park. I love doing this because it truly allows you to feel the real sense of scale of everything. That's the great thing about this game is you build things and they feel large, they feel lifelike. Other theme park simulation games in the past have all made things feel kind of dinky and weird, but this game, it feels realistic. Like, once you get down on these paths and you're in the same line of sight as the guests, everything looks like it would if you were to see it in real life. And then you have the pretty realistic lighting and shadow rendering. All this combined makes this Mario Land actually feel like something you would visit in real life. Then using the warp pipe as a transition to go inside the station for this coaster is one of my favorite scenery elements I included in this park. It just feels so clean. And then you walk inside and there's a lot of other green pipes everywhere. And I just really enjoyed the fact that Mario gives you so much to work with that I got to combine scenery elements from Planet Coaster and then also these custom scenery items so seamlessly. Like the Mario blocks and the question blocks mashed everything so well. I was just astounded how well everything blended together. It all looks so good, and I put in a decent amount of effort, but it came together pretty effortlessly at the same time, so big W's here. And then also the little recreation of level 1-2 from Mario Bros. 1 when you enter the station section. So good. The person's so excited to ride the coaster, look at them sprint. And you know, we'll go ahead and ride the coaster one more time for good measure. This is a really fun one to watch. Now, something I would love in the next Planet Coaster game, and I'm not sure how hard this would be to implement, but I would love custom trains. Because right now, our train is a yellow caterpillar, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a Wiggler from the Mario Bros. Games. Now, it would probably be way harder to add custom trains in comparison to custom scenery because there's more physics involved with the train. But it would be cool to like update the model of our train and make it look like an actual Wiggler from the Mario franchise. That would end up selling the whole entire thing, and people would actually think that Nintendo did a brand deal with Planet Coaster or something. Which Planet Coaster did like a couple brand deals. The largest brand deal that Planet Coaster did was for Ghostbusters, which is super random, but I would love to see them do more and add more scenery from other intellectual properties out there. Also, as you can probably tell, since we're in the first-person perspective of one of the guests, we have a different view from the coaster than we did the first time riding it. The first time we were riding down from the very, very front, so we didn't see the head of the caterpillar. But now since we're in the eyes of the guest, we see the head of the caterpillar, their hands. They're going crazy. It gives us a little bit more of a realistic sense of what it's like to ride a roller coaster, I guess. The end of this coaster has lots of good airtime hills. Keep you floating in your seat for half the ride. Always a good feeling. Definitely worth riding twice. I think most of the coasters in this park are worth riding several times, which was the overall goal. So I go to theme parks and I'll ride a certain ride. I'm like, I never want to ride that again. So I really wanted to make it my goal to make the rides re-rideable, to avoid those types of emotions from people who came to the park. Anyways, this concludes the tour of Super Mario Land. Thank you guys so much for joining me. In the next episode of the tour, we'll be taking a look at Explorers Land, where we have some really, really fun roller coasters. It's a really beautiful section of the park. Pretty tiny, but very compact in a cool way. I hope to see you guys then. Thank you all so much for watching. And before I leave, I am sorry to inform you, but your princess is in another castle.